Hello, adventurers. Welcome back to another episode. And on this episode, we are actually taking this down to Memphis. You may be asking, why Memphis? Well, welcome to the Pyramid Bass Pro Shop in Memphis, Tennessee. Now let's get started. The way I found out about this pyramid's existence was probably as strange as the story behind this, and this was because of a meme. So I did my research to see if this place actually existed, and to my surprise, it did. So just like most tourists or most people in general, you might be asking, how did this 32-story steel pyramid with a big Cypress Lodge hotel, restaurants, multiple aquariums, a waterfall, a cave, a bowling alley, a live alligator exhibit, a zipper swamp, and nearly over 600,000 gallons of water? Oh yeah, and I also forgot to mention too, the tallest freestanding elevator in the US come to exist in one location. Well, I'm gonna tell you all this, so sit back and enjoy the view. So this was actually originally envisioned as a major cultural attraction in the 1950s called the Great American Pyramids. The idea was shelved until the 1980s, and then the Great American Pyramid was constructed and opened in 1991. And you may be asking why a pyramid in the first place. It turns out that Memphis is actually named after an ancient city in Egypt. And at the time, it was more or less an arena because it just hosted the University of Memphis basketball games, and it also temporarily housed the Vancouver Grizzlies when they moved to Memphis in 2001. However, ideas were still being thrown around of what to make this pyramid's permanent identity. Some people said it would become a Hard Rock Cafe, or a College Football Hall of Fame, or even a radio station. But at this point in time, the pyramid's biggest function and use was to just hold basketball games and to be a concert hall. And it wasn't a very popular one either. But thanks to its unpopularity and hardships, its last concert was on February 3rd, 2007, and eventually it just kind of stood there standing. People were not knowing what to do with it, until its fate would change. Because going back 2 years, in 2005, a very important fishing trip took place with Johnny Morris and his friends. And those of you who don't know who Johnny Morris is, he's the founder of Bass Pro Shop. He was fishing with his friends in the Mississippi River near the pyramid, and Morris said to his friends if they could catch a 30-pound catfish, he would build a store inside the abandoned venue. It seemed like a joke or even a long shot at that point, but sure enough, fate took its turn. Morris's friend, Jack, caught a 34-pound catfish, and funny enough, almost in the shadow of the pyramid, as Morris would say. He kept his promise, and renovation began in 2012, and it cost about $250 million. And in 2015, the pyramid finally opened its doors to now be known as the Memphis Bass Pro Shop Pyramid. Now fast forward 9 years and one strange meme later, here I am exploring this strange but wondrous wonderland. And honestly, I didn't know all this coming in. It's not until now I did my research I found a bigger appreciation for this place, especially with its crazy history and its funny story behind it too. But nevertheless, it was real awesome to be here, guys. And this is the second floor of the store. And this is actually one of the exhibits it has, and this one so happens to be a duck hunting museum. It's pretty cool too because you get to see lots of different old-fashioned artifacts of duck hunting. Well, actually I meant to say just weapons and exhibits. But there's also different kinds of clothing they have too, and as well as different kinds of guns they use for duck hunting. I'm not a too avid hunter, but nevertheless, it was still pretty cool to walk around and check out all the neat little stuff they had. But one, however, did catch my eye because it was just so weird and I didn't think it was actually used for anything. And I honestly thought it was just a joke weapon because of the fact it was so cartoonishly big. This whole rifle is bigger than me. Oh, look, it stretches all the way up to right here. And this wonky rifle is called a punt gun. And for it being a cartoonish rifle, you would think they'll give it a cooler sounding name. Oh well, to each is his own. But after that museum, I continued on forward to see whether one of the sites I could see. I saw this really cool sign, and I eventually saw an old-fashioned general store. And we'll see a store more later on. But I went to go look around the other sides and saw this cool duck lure, I think they were. And they were just flapping their wings. Some weren't even working, but some were flapping harder than others, like this poor little guy. Poor thing. They even had a building within a building just to be its own fish, bait, and tackle shop, which was pretty cool in my opinion. Besides all the cool shops, I think the biggest thing that blew me away by far, besides it being inside a giant pyramid, is the actual decorations. Not just the taxidermy, but just the landscapes, as well as the actual aquariums. And not even mention too the fake trees and landmarks. Because I know what you're probably thinking, well, all Bass Pro Shops have taxidermy in many environments. And that's true, but this one just seemed a little more different too. It seemed like it took the advantage of the shape of the pyramid, just made it darker and put the right kind of lighting and the fake bald cypresses around to make it seem like you're in some kind of swamp or in the woods in the evening time. I'm not sure, this kind of played a little mind game on me because it was actually in the morning time, but it just made you feel like you were somewhere at night. But it was just so well lit, but yet so like alive. It was just kind of weird to explain. And this may sound a little weird, but I'm not too sure if people may feel the same way, but being here kind of reminded me of like the earlier 2000s to like the 2015 Old Spice commercials, as well as like the newer Mountain Dew Kickstart commercials. I'm gonna go on a little spiel right now, guys, but just hear me out. It's just that with those commercials, they had almost like a whimsical kind of like, not really like out of place kind of atmosphere and feel to them, but yet it still kind of worked for that sense of the commercial. But in this case, this whole building has like that whimsical, kind of well lit, you know, well built environment, but it just seems kind of like, it's hard, like funny to explain. It's almost like, it's cool because it's like a miniature fishing dock in the bayou, but it also feels like a carnival as well. And with all the buildings and lighting too, it makes it feel like this perfect little whimsical atmosphere. I'm not really too sure how to explain it, but I think for me personally, it's almost like a nostalgia, like the kind of creativity and the interesting, whimsical of the visuals, environment, and atmosphere kind of reminded me of that time and place when I was a kid watching those commercials. But anyways, besides of that random spiel, this is a really beautiful, well-decorated place. And like I mentioned before too, they had restaurants. This was actually one of the restaurants too. It had an old-fashioned, I think a dive bell suit, which I remember as a Cyclops from the SpongeBob movie. But this place actually had a live aquarium in the middle of the restaurant, which was so beautiful. And it kind of went from bayou to ocean because behind this restaurant is actually the bowling alley. And this is actually how the bowling alley is decorated. Don't get me wrong, it's really, really freaking awesome. And it's probably one of the places I wish I could bowl at. But yet again, I'm a cheapskate too, guys. And it definitely seems like a really awesome place to celebrate your birthday, a party, just to hang out with friends. Because just the decorations alone make it seem like a beautiful set piece just to stare at for a good while, especially if you're drinking. Because I almost forgot to mention too, this place is actually a bar as well, and the restaurant too. It's right behind there. I'm not too sure if I got footage, but if you follow that mermaid and go to the right, you'll see the bar right there on that side. But this is also the alligator exhibit, and as well as the general store. And inside the general store, it's just like a few other places we visited in the past, like the one in Ghost Town, if you guys saw that video, or the Charlie Brown video. They sell a lot of similar items, but of course for a higher price, like the lovely Chico sticks that I definitely wouldn't buy for $3 practically. And surprisingly enough too, they actually had some hot sauces I've seen before, even some new hot sauces, but from the same brand, but with teal colored cowboy hats this time. I should probably start a collection of these things, guys. And they had some new stuff too, like these puff marshmallows that are 3-in-1, as well as cool unique photos like this legendary Hogzilla someone killed. And not to mention too, this freaking awesome coffee brand. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I definitely would have bought it. And I definitely would have bought this hat too. It was so awesome, so cool, but it was $20. But that's it for this video, guys. Until next time, I hope you guys liked the video. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, guys. And remember, guys, have a wonderful day and be safe out there. Take care.